Hey, what's going on, guys? Godstatus here. So today, well, not today, I believe yesterday or like 2 days ago, the test plays got two new guns, being the HK21 and the FAL Shorty, which I'm going to go over a little bit of my opinions on these in the video and kind of throughout this. HK21 is a new 100 round LMG, but it has pretty good damage, but it also has an insane amount of recoil. Now, it's not your normal recoil where it's up and down, it's horizontal, side to side, which a lot of people aren't really used to. And one thing that I'm noticing with this is that although it does look like a lot, in all honesty, if you do just kind of sit in one spot and hold and like look at one person without really adjusting it too much, it will kind of go back and forth over them. So although it seems like it's a lot of recoil, it doesn't seem that hard to control because the recoil does bounce back and forth onto the person. Like here, I won't control this at all. And like, as long as I'm just following the guy a little bit, the recoil bounces back and forth. Like, I'm not moving my mouse whatsoever trying to adjust for the recoil. I'm kind of just making sure that I'm looking at them and letting the recoil bounce back and forth. So it does feel like a lot of recoil, but in that sense, it feels really weird. And this is a gun that I really think, as like I made the video on yesterday, benefits from alt aim a lot, because when you're scoped in with the gun and you see how much it's bouncing around, like having the model bounce around on you a lot makes it a little bit more intimidating to use in a sense, because the model bounces around, like I said, a lot. Like here, look at the difference in trying to control the recoil if you're seeing all that compared to if you're just seeing this. It's a lot easier because your screen isn't shaking as much, and I feel like you could probably follow a target and trace him a lot easier. So like I said, this gun is really strong. I believe it 2 shots to the head close range, and then it might be 4 shot to the body at all ranges. We'll check here in a second when I die, but I could be wrong. I think it does 2-shot headshot close range and then 4-shot body all ranges. Let's go look real quick. So yeah, it is 2-shot headshot close, 4-shot body all. I don't know why it has the 1.1 torso multiplier, in all honesty, because it genuinely doesn't change the damage that it does. Let me do some calculations. Okay, so after doing a little bit of math right there, it seems that armor piercing on this gun may actually be more worth it, but that's if you want to lose your close range damage. If you put on armor piercing, it makes the gun 3-shot to the body at all ranges, and will make it 3-shot headshot close range. Or if you just want to have the green laser on, it will 2-shot headshot close range and then 4-shot to the body at all ranges. And with this gun, I believe that you kind of need the laser on it. Like, it does have that recoil, so I think you really do need that laser to help you out. It's probably more worth it in my eyes, so definitely stick with the laser if you do come try this gun out. Yeah, that's kind of my view on it. There was also the FAL Shorty added, FAL Shorty, Jesus, which is another FAL, which, as you guys know, I don't have a liking for FALs. However, they are sticking with a consistent basis of low fire rate, high damage, and high recoil, which I'm happy about, because seeing the guns before where they had low recoil, high damage, and then like a low fire rate wasn't really balanced in my eyes, so I'm happy that there is being more recoil added to these guns. But I'm seeing a kind of a trend lately with Stylus with high recoil, low fire rate, high power guns, and I don't know if that's just because that's what they're working on right now, or if that's something they're aiming to do more often, like if that's the way they kind of want the meta to go, where it would be like more higher recoil, higher power guns. But that's kind of just what I'm seeing so far. Now, I am running coyote compensator vertical green laser. Let's go ahead and try changing this a little bit. Try out a muzzle brake instead of the compensator and see what happens. I haven't really tried too much out on this gun, but this is like any other FAL, kind of in the sense that it's only 20 bullets, and I don't really know why we're making so many FALs right now. Maybe just because of the efficiency, like they have the models done and they don't need to change too much, they just need to do balance purposes. Maybe that's why, which, alright, like whatever, at the end of the day, it does get more content into the game, so I'm not going to complain. But as you guys know, I don't have the most love for FALs. So this gun is another one, like I said, low fire rate, low fire rate, high damage, high recoil, which some people may not like, some people might. I don't really know. It's definitely something that doesn't suit my playstyle, but it suits a lot of other people's playstyles, so it's definitely a good thing for them to add, and it is putting variety, because for a while, it seemed like a lot of guns were low recoil, high fire rate guns, which kind of was surprising, because you would think with a gun as much recoil as like the FAL, or as much as recoil as like the HK21, having that super high recoil is definitely needed, whereas there was a lot of guns coming out that had the high rate of fire and the low recoil, which in my eyes didn't really make sense. That's where things kind of start to get blurred and get a little overpowered. And that's why things like the Vector had their recoil nerfed and things like that, because when you are using a Vector and it had that high a fire rate, but it had the low recoil that it used to have, really just wasn't fun to play against, in all honesty, and just wasn't fun to use overall. all. Now, out of these two guns, I'm definitely preferring the HK. My like ballast to the FAL aside, I just like the fact that it has 100 bullets compared to like the simple 20, so that you aren't punished as much with your recoil, and if you are missing shots, it isn't that big of a deal compared to other guns. It's just, I don't know, I've never been a fan of low ammo guns, which is why I kind of like the ASL and the SR3M, and I was super excited when the SR3M got the extended mag, because that fits more of my playstyle. But at the end of the day, as long as it works overall, and there's a sub sound again, as long as it works overall for the game, then I support it. As of right now, the guns don't seem like they're overpowered in any sense, which I have been complaining about a lot as of late, which would be gun balance and issues along those lines. But with this much recoil, it is good. However, I still want to stress the fact that as long as you're just aiming towards the person, the recoil will eventually bounce back. Now, if you play a game like CSGO, let's say, and you fully spray, and this is kind of a bad comparison to make, but a comparison nonetheless. If you play a game like CSGO, the best I can show it is when you spray an AK, it goes kind of like that. Like it goes up and then side to side, whereas with the HK, if you sit here and you aim it, it will eventually just kind of even itself out and go back and forth, which, I don't know, it gets that initial vertical hop and then just goes horizontal, and I don't know if that's really the best way to balance it, because if you're going to add recoil to a gun, although it is controllable in a sense, it makes it so you aren't really controlling the gun, you're just looking towards the person. Like I said, CSGO, how it goes up and then side to side, you have to bring that down and side to side and control the recoil in the same motion, whereas with this gun, if you're just looking towards them and you get it down after that initial vertical kick, as long as you're looking in their direction, that's all that really tends to matter. So I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like the recoil could be worked on a bit, and if you are going to have a recoil that's higher, at least be one that like can be controlled, or if they do want it to be something that isn't really controlled and it's something that's more of just a higher recoil and it is more of a kind of skill gap or skill curve, I should say, then that's fine too. But in my eyes, I feel like that's just a little bit weird, because I don't see the reason of having such a high recoil if you're going to have it be one that overlaps on itself and does eventually come back to itself. You're really not controlling recoil, you're just aiming at the person and the gun's recoil will automatically bounce you back to it. I don't know if I'm just like kind of ranting off on a tangent here, but that's just kind of how I see it. I feel like the recoil should have a purpose and a direct way to counter it, and although it is a higher recoil, there would still be a way to control it, rather than, you know, just kind of letting it spray and hoping it bounces back to the target. Or at least that's how I feel like a lot of people are going to end up using the gun. Overall, though, I think these guns aren't too bad. I think they were made decently well. There might be a little bit of balance tweaks that come to them because, you know, some things may be off. I haven't fully looked into the guns. This is kind of my first experience on with them, which is why I'm recording it and kind of giving like a live impression of how I'm feeling with them. Like I said, I haven't really looked into it much. There could be some new changes to them eventually. Something could be changed, and I don't know what that is currently. I haven't looked into things like recoil time or reload times or anything like that, so maybe things could be changed. I don't know. As of right now, they don't seem too bad though. I think this is definitely a good start, and there's always room for tweaks that could be made. Yeah, that's about it. My only real confusion is the recoil sense of it. Other than that, I think it's definitely pretty balanced, and I'm happy with where it's starting at, rather than like some guns we've seen in the past. They come in and they're extremely broken and we have to like complain for and wait like a month or two to get them nerfed. Good start. I'm definitely happy with it, but I don't really have much else to talk about. In all honesty, I could kind of just play the game, but it's not like it's a super active lobby, and we're on a new map that I don't really know spawn traps on, so I guess we can kind of just work our way around. By the way, this map is called Blizzard, which is only available on the test place currently. The more I'm using this gun, the easier it seems to kind of get the recoil in your favor. I feel like it's not as hard to control the recoil as I was initially thinking, but it's definitely still not the easiest. I don't know how to feel about it necessarily. I really don't. Maybe it's just me slowly getting used to the gun, or maybe that's just the way it is, but I definitely would need to put more testing into these guns to give a definitive opinion and something that like I really stand by, because everything I'm saying right now is all live first time using the gun, and this is how I feel with it. So take my opinions with a grain of salt and definitely go try these guns out for yourself, because like I said, these are first opinions. I definitely would need to do more testing. There's no way I know everything about these guns right away. It definitely could use some work in my overall views of the gun, but so far, not so bad. Not so bad at all. I'm happy with it, and I definitely think that they're stepping and doing things a lot better in the right direction. Wow, there goes my aim. Holy crap, so many like suppressed enemy assist counts as kill. One thing I'm noticing is this gun has an insanely low reload time for a 100 round gun. Let me actually look into that in a second here, because I'm curious to see what the reload times actually are on this, because I know this is definitely a lot faster than like the M60 reload, or at least it feels like that, and it's definitely faster than like the MG3 reload. So let's see. That's one thing that like I might have an opinion about after I look at the exact times. Let's go ahead and see how the reload actually works. So reload time is 4 seconds, or a mag dump is 3 point... What? Why is the reload before a mag dump longer than the empty? Like, even if make them the same, but like, I don't know, that's like OCD bugging me. But like, let's see, the M60 has an 8-second reload. The MG36 has a 4 to a 4.8. So it has about the same reload as the MG36, but it has 50 more bullets per minute, excuse me. And then it also, here, let me take off armor piercing so I can get direct stats. Does a lot more damage, but it has the higher recoil. So it's a weird balance in my eyes. I feel like personally, the reload should be a little bit more, maybe a little bit more, I don't know. To have something like the M60 that has a much slower fire rate, a much better accuracy, better damage, but has an 8-second reload compared to, well, I guess the balance kind of makes sense. It has the higher recoil, higher fire rate, still does decent damage, but faster reload? Actually, does that really make sense? The only thing really downsizing is the damage is worse than like the M60 and the MG36, but the recoil's a lot worse than the M60 and MG36. I really don't know. It feels a bit weird to me why certain 100-round guns would have double the reload compared to other 100-round guns. Now, the M60's reload, I think, is fine, but that's kind of where I would see, like, there's guns that are like ARs, let's say. If we go ahead and look at some advanced stats quickly, like the AUG A3, for an example, has a 3 to 4 second reload. Should an AUG that has this little mag really take the same amount of time to reload as a 100 round drum gun? I feel like that should definitely be looked into personally. But nonetheless, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.